Good morning. How are you doing today? So let me pump up my chair a little bit more. So let me tell you what we are talking about today. Today I want to show you how I curl my hair with my 1-inch Ionic Curling Iron. I have my temperature set to 390 degrees. What's great about this iron too is that you can lock it. So if you double click the power button, it locks the temperature. So as you're curling, if anything gets knocked, it stays the same temperature. So what I have already done to my hair is put 2 pumps of Kevin Murphy's Young Again oil. I worked it in between my hands and worked it all into my hair. And then I just brushed it through. I washed my hair yesterday with Hydrate Me Wash and Rinse from Kevin Murphy. And I also put Heated Defense and some, the anti-gravity volumizer. So this is great. I put this in my natural hair up here just to give it like a little bit more texture. As you can see, like my hair holds a little more body than it usually would. Yeah, and then I maybe have a little bit of hairspray in it from yesterday too. So the first thing I do, my hair is brushed, ready to go. So I'm wearing 2.5 rows of Natural Beaded Rows, 18-inch extensions. So the first thing I'm going to do is section my hair into 3 different sections. So I have the crown of my head and my mini or my half row and my face framing. That is all going to go in one section. If you don't have a half row, then this section, or a third row, this would be a third row too. If you don't, then this would just be your natural hair in this little clip up here. You guys look at how cute these little clips are. If you are interested, if you need some good hair clips, I have access to these, and they have these big jumbo clips too, which are great for extensions. I'm going to be using them on my next section. So my next section is my main row. I'm just picking all that up. How I'm getting my section is I'm running my finger across the base of the weft and then pulling up. So you see, it just kind of makes a clean section right on top of the extensions. Doing that on the other side, finger all the way, and then sectioning it off. And then I'm going to twirl this up into a bun. And the way I like to do it is to actually wrap it around the other bun. And then I take my big jumbo guy clip and sandwich him in there. So now all I have down is my bottom row, which also contains all of my natural hair. So there was something. If you have dense hair, it's probably something I would tell you about during your first appointment. Then you would want to curl. If you have dense hair or if you have really short hair compared to your extensions, you're going to want to bring this bottom row up and just do your hair first and then curl the bottom row. But if you have longer hair that blends into the extensions, then you should be able to do both at the same time. So I'm taking 1-inch sections because I'm using a 1-inch curling iron. I'm doing 1 pass to smooth over. I also just prepped my hair and ate a ton of it. It is Kevin Murphy Session Spray Flex. So you pass it over 1 time to smooth it. And then I'm going just a couple inches away and curling away from my face. I leave about 2 inches of my tail down, and I'm unraveling my fingers off of the clamp and pulling through. Right at the end, I just open it a little bit just so it doesn't pull till the very last hair. But I'm letting it pretty much go completely out. So the way that I curl, I part my hair in the back, like in half, and bring all my hair forward. And if it's on this side of my head, my curls go this way. If it's on this side of my head, my curls will go this way. You always want your curls to go away from your face. It helps open your face up. You don't want it to like close in your face. So keep in mind, although these sections are really small, this is how you get the most life out of your curls, because every curl is getting exposed to plenty of heat. So now I have a little bit of my natural hair from the underneath my row, my bottom row, smoothing it all together, just running over it once, starting a couple inches away, and I pull down and roll back up. I'm just barely opening, putting my finger on the clamp and opening, And then we'll just pull away. Like I said, pulling, pulling, pulling. Now I just kind of open a little bit, release it just a little bit, so that way it doesn't pull that very last hair. But you see, that's how you get those smoother ends. And if you're someone who doesn't prefer like a straighter end, then what you can do is when you get to this end, instead of pulling straight out, just bend it and curl like that. And it will spring your curl more. Okay, so let's do one more on this side, and then I'll show you the other side. So we're smoothing my natural hair and the extensions together. My hair is coming out straight from my head, holding my iron vertical, not horizontal, couple inches away, and then rolling forward. Grabbing my tail just to keep it nice and clean, pull, and roll back up. I'm gonna do just a little bit more. Perfect. Leave all that tail out, and I'm gonna show you this time how to bend the curl with it. So pulling. So now I'm just rolling my curling iron one more time and gonna pull like that. And my ends are nice and curled. Okay, so now on this side, I'm gonna show you with the smoother, straighter end, just so we can go over that a little bit more. But I am taking 1-inch sections of my hair, holding it straight out a couple inches away. And it's just a pull down and roll back motion. And then you want to stay, I'm pulling through the end, straight, straight, straight. You want to keep the hair in this position, almost like straight away from your head. So my extensions have a couple weeks grow out, which is what you're seeing right here. We're gonna pass over one time to smooth. And this is what's gonna get you your volume, holding this iron straight out here. And roll. I know that this is a little bit of a longer video. If you're still here, I know it's because you're really curious on how to curl your hair. If this is not supportive and you need more information, just let me know. So we're straightening out our ends, just pulling straight forward. And that's how you get the straighter end. Versus when we tucked it and we got more of the curled end. So you can see the difference here. It's totally based upon preference, what you like. All right, I'll do one more piece. And guys, it's the same pretty much formula for your whole head this way. You're just gonna keep going around doing this. You're gonna drop your next row, spray a little bit of that Session Spray Flex, and then you're just gonna curl, pulling straight out. And I'm not even opening my finger with these. It's gliding through so nicely for me that I don't even have to open it to release that last hair because I don't feel any pulling. But if you're like doing this and you're feeling like a little pull, then just like open it a tad and let it slide through. It'll still warm up those ends. So I'm not gonna bore you to death with curling my whole head, but this is gonna wrap up the extensions part. I'm gonna drop my top row. You'll see it straight, or I'm gonna curl everything, come back with my top and my half piece down and show you how I curl my natural hair. Okay, so I'm back. So I curled all this. I know your arms are tired. I know you're ready to be done. But this part is the most important part, especially if you like fullness in your hair, if you like volume in your hair. What you do to your natural hair up here really, really counts. So if you have a third row, you would do your third row separately, like its own section. But if you have a half or nothing, this is what you want to do. So part your hair wherever you part your hair at. I part down the center. And then I'm doing the same thing. Pulling half forward. And these are the halves I'm working with. So for your bangs, to get that real fullness around your face, I take a diagonal section. This is actually a little too big. A little triangle section like that. This is over directed across my face. I'm coming in with my clamp this way and curling. This is how you really get a good curtain bang. And then I'm unraveling. And you see how it's sitting in my face? That's great. That's what you want. You see specifically this curve right here, that's what you're looking for. Because that's what's gonna kind of like come forward and when it brushes out and give you that coverage, like a good bang across your face. So taking another on my other side. If you have a side part, I can do a separate video on that. That's a little bit different than than like face framing or a curtain bang type situation. I have curtain bangs pretty much, so that's why I do this. So yeah, they look pretty much identical. Like I said, this one has that arc. Both sides always will come out just like a little different, but for the most part, they have the same shape. And then I'm just going back in tiny little sections. And then I'm gonna take it in half. So I know this is so small, but y'all, this is how you are able to go so long without having to recurl your hair. So I'm doing the same method, but what's really important, especially with your hair up here, you remember how I told you to hold your extensions straight out from your head? That's even more true up here. The more you go over directed from where it lays, the more volume you'll get. So with all these hairs, I'm taking it right, keeping it right on top of my head. And look, see all that bounce up there? That's what you're looking for. That's how you get as much body in your natural hair as you do in your extensions. So I'll do a couple more rocking side to side so you can see. And then, so with a mini, what I'm going to do is basically, put a little more hair in that. Whenever you get to the sections of your head that it's at, like the back. So I basically work my way like a pie, going through making long slices and then cutting them into squares. So it's little square partings. When I get to the back, I just include my mini, but I want to make sure I have my natural hair on top and below it. I just make sure I can feel and have some hair like that. That is just going to help blend everything. Especially most people who are wearing a mini, it's because we have really short layers compared to how long our hair is. So it's important that we blend those short layers in for the most seamless look. So see, I'm staying right on top of my head with the curling iron, and that's how I get so much bounce in my curl up here. So this is like a paper thin section. It's a little long this ways, but that's okay. You just want to take such small sections that all the hair is able to properly heat, because that's what makes hair last, is heat. There's a lot of science behind it, but I won't tell you because I'm sure that nothing sounds more boring than hearing about the different bonds in your hair. So see, I took a long section this way and then I'm cutting it into two pieces. So that's what I mean by my square partings, is I'm just working my way in like pie shaped sections around my head, but then going in and cutting them into squares in the center. So I'm not going to bore you with all this. I'm going to time lapse this as well. And then I will probably put out a separate video, just because this one has been so long, about how I brush out and like finish my style. So enjoy the rest of this time lapsing and I'll catch you next video.